And welcome back to the North Star Takes podcast with Bailey Palicki and Jacob Alberta. We aim to offer you fresh takes and analysis on all our beloved Minnesota sports teams, but we'll also get into some national sports topics as well. You can find all our videos here on our YouTube channel at North Star Takes Podcast and can follow us on Twitter at North Star Takes and Instagram at North Star Takes Podcast. Today we will be doing our Sound Off segment where we each give a hot take about Minnesota sports, national sports, whatever we're kind of feeling we need to sound off about. So, Liberta, what are you sounding off about this week?
Sounding off? I was getting really intrigued about the NBA playoffs and these conference finals matchups with at the Clippers and Suns, as well as the Bucks and Hawks, and it's been good basketball and so much to say. I can guarantee everybody 7 games in the NBA finals.
Wow.
I don't care who's there.
Doesn't matter the matchup, huh?
Nope. I don't care who's there, who the players are. I think it's going to be a 7-game series. And I just think it's just because these teams at this point are so even. They all got here for a reason. I think they can all play. It just depends on the night. But I think they kind of trade blows back and forth. And I'm anticipating a 7-game series, one of those historic matchups, especially for teams that haven't won championships in at least 50 years, if not ever. So I think that's what I'm getting real excited about, and that's what I'm demanding, I guess, from everybody. That's what I'm demanding from everybody to think. Is basically betting on this series being 7 games.
Wow. I mean, I would agree with you. I think right now it's kind of looking like it's going to be the Suns and the Bucks. Yeah. The Hawks could maybe make a comeback. We'll see. But, yeah, I think the Suns and Bucks, especially if we just focus on that matchup, assuming that that's the way it goes, they're kind of similar teams. I mean, Chris Paul, Drew Holiday, just 2 good, solid point guards that just do their job. Then you have good scoring wings with Devin Booker and Chris Middleton. And then
exactly.
The Suns have DeAndre Ayton, who's a center, but then the Bucks have Giannis, who's basically an athletic center. So they're kind of similar teams that they could kind of match up well together, I think. So, and it'd both be their first finals with their current teams, obviously, and it'd be an intriguing matchup because really I'd root for either of those teams, honestly. So it'd be cool to see the Atlanta Hawks getting there too with Trae Young. He's been lighting it up. The Clippers aren't looking like they're going to get their pandemic P. Can't carry the load without Kawhi Leonard. So
and then Kawhi's going to see you in the offseason.
That'll be a whole other bag of worms. We could have Kawhi Leonard and Damian Lillard and Ben Simmons all on the move at the same time.
Yes,
so
we could. Ooh, that'd be spicy.
So I agree with you though. I mean, the NBA, kind of like with the NHL, those series tend to go 7 games, especially in the NBA Finals. That maybe it's that way on purpose. They try to milk it out as long as they can, get all their ad revenue and their TV views and stuff like that. But yeah, I agree with you. I could definitely see it going 7 games.
Yes, and I'm really rooting honestly for a Bucks and Suns finals matchup, like you were saying. I think there's just a lot of likable players on both teams.
For sure.
Obviously, there'd be good storylines whichever way you turn with any of these 4 teams left, but I think I got to get behind the Suns and Bucks specifically. But no matter who makes it, again, 7 games.
Exactly.
Let's write that down.
Gotcha.
Anyways, so Bailey, let's hear your take here. What's your sound off this week?
A lot of people are expecting that the Minnesota Twins are just going to be straight up sellers at the deadline, and they might move Nelson Cruz or Taylor Rogers or somebody, but I don't think they're going to make that many moves, honestly, and I think they're going to try to keep winning this season. I mean, they've won 7 of their last 9 games. They've been kind of hot. They just beat the Cleveland Indians 2 out of 3 games. The bats are starting to come around, Nelson Cruz and Josh Donaldson specifically. And, Nelson Cruz, it makes a lot of sense for them to trade him. He's got an expiring contract. He'll be a free agent, and he'll be 41, 42 years old next season. And he's one of the greatest Twins of all time, honestly. He's one of the best hitting Minnesota Twins we've ever seen. And
I can't disagree.
I'm not afraid to say it, and I don't really think that's even a hot take by any means, but it'd be really sad to see him go, but at the same time, he deserves to be chasing for a championship. And so it makes a lot of sense to trade him. I think it could be a decent haul, but I don't think they're going to be out here trading guys like Jose Barrios or Max Kepler or even Miguel Sano. I think they're just going to kind of keep this group and see if they can if they can make it manageable by the trade deadline or the All-Star break and get within 7-8 games. I mean, it's been done before, so I could see them just trying to keep pushing. This division's not strong. Right now, they're tied with the Royals and Tigers at the bottom of the division. Cleveland, they just took 2 out of 3 from. They're struggling. Their lineup isn't very good. Then you got the White Sox, who have a good team, but they've got injuries all over the place. And, they wouldn't even be a wild card team if they weren't leading the division. So I think
it's crazy.
I think the Twins are honestly going to stand pat. They'll maybe trade Nelson Cruz, who's their best player, which could have a profound impact, honestly. But I just don't see him making that many moves. How about you?
That surprised me to hear you say that after we had that episode last week talking about all the trade assets and trade chips the Twins were probably going to move, but the trade deadline. Now you're talking about us holding our chips and going all in on this season potentially, which even at the current state of our standings placement, I guess I should say. But yeah, I could see it happening, but at the same time, I still feel like we're too far out. I feel like our front office has enough wits about them that they're, unless we can string off a bunch of wins here coming up in a bunch of divisional matchups to really get back in the thick of things, I still think they're going to still trade everybody out just because I think it's going to take a lot for us to climb back in this playoff race. And I don't know if they're going to see that as an attainable thing to pursue this year. So I'm going to leave it at that, honestly. I still think they're going to trade everybody. But
my thing with that is that would just be them admitting that they've kind of failed on what they thought this roster was going to be this season.
That's a very fair consideration.
And that would also mean them just giving up on guys who have been here for their core, like giving up on a Max Kepler, giving up on a Miguel Sano, which, honestly, you probably could give up on a Miguel Sano at this point. We all know what he is. Or like a Jorge Polanco, who we thought was, just kind of maybe cooked at the beginning part of the season, but he's been hot lately. He's been playing well. Maybe his ankle's finally healed. So I think the Twins honestly still like a lot of these guys, and they want to keep them around. And you're gonna have to make some moves to bring, make moves for some of these younger guys coming up. And Kirilloff and Larnach are gonna need permanent spots. So there's stuff like that to deal with, and the pitching is obviously gonna be a giant mess the way it is. So, but yeah, I don't see them making a lot of moves, and it feels like especially with Minnesota teams, there's always this hype at the trade deadline, and then nothing ends up really happening. So
I mean, that's fair too. Looking at the history of our teams in general, that we don't usually make a lot of splashy moves at trade deadlines. I mean, obviously, the trade deadline's usually more of a prevalent thing in like baseball, especially, but basketball and hockey somewhat, but football it's not really a thing. So, and the Vikings are probably the most likely team to do something like that.
Yeah, that's true.
If it was more of a prevalent thing in the league in general. So, I kind of building off that though, real quick. On the flip side of that, could you see us adding anybody potentially?
No way.
Okay.
No way. I don't see that.
You don't think they'd mortgage any part of the future for something like this?
That wouldn't make any sense, especially if you're going to be 10 games back.
That would be flaming hot in my opinion.
That would be, that would be crazy, but it wouldn't make sense to trade a guy like Nelson Cruz and then just try to add somebody in addition to that. So that will do it for this edition of the North Star Takes podcast. Be sure to like our videos and stay tuned for more content by subscribing to our channel. And give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram as well. And drop your thoughts below about our sound offs of the week. So thanks for watching.